Ralph. Good to see you.
You as well? You're in your car, huh?
Yeah, I'm out and about, and I hate rescheduling. I hate rescheduling this coffee with a recruiter because I end up losing folks, and yeah, I know it's hard on folks. So yeah, I'll try to make it wherever I am.
Thanks for
Hi,
that.
David, Victor, of course, Ralph, Joey. How
Hello.
you guys doing?
I'm doing all right.
Good. All right, I have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour. Quick public service announcement. I was just almost a victim of a phishing scam. And this is the kind of stuff that I tell my mom to be careful of. And lo and behold, I almost fell for it. Um, and so just it's top of mind for me right now. So I guess even the best of us can be taken, especially these scams now are becoming even more sophisticated with AI. And
Yes.
so just be careful.
Yeah, I hesitate to press on any links from people I don't know on my phone because I can't, it's hard to see the link, and so it's you can't
Totally,
like check the validity before you
totally,
click on it.
totally. So anyway, just a quick reminder. All right, how are you guys doing? I don't really have much news on my end other than I guess the only news I have is I am working on a resume uh, evaluation uh, service product. If you guys are interested, check it out. If you want to, there's a code I have, and I'm offering 50% off of it. I think I'm charging $29, so 50% off, like $15. So this is something that I've been working on with a partner, and it basically has everything that I would do as a recruiter as I think about evaluating a resume. So I've done some of this with you guys. I do this through my copy with a recruiter, but this is sort of embedded of probably 95% of everything I would do. We're still working on sort of the longer tail of things, and we'll refine it as we go along. But it's a very detailed 20 to 25, in some cases, even 30-page report on various facets that I would review as a resume. But this is all done through AI, but it embodies everything that I would do, right? So it's doing it at scale. And so for me to do this manually, I mean, for each person, it would take a lot of time. So if you guys are interested, I'll drop the thing here. You might even be getting emails. I think our team is sending out emails as well. But
Yeah, I think I've gotten one or two emails about it.
Coffee 50 is the code for 50% off. But yeah, and yeah, so anyway, that's the only thing I've got. I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. Otherwise, one more thing. Okay, there. All right. What do you guys want to talk about? Any challenges, any situations we want to sort of maybe take a closer look at?
I was wondering, could you tell us if anything has changed in the job market recently? I started getting a lot of recruiters contacting me. Like, it's still, yeah, I'm not passing any of the hiring manager interviews, but I've been getting like hit up 2 or 3 times a week, which is for like the last month, which is a lot more than what was going on before. And I don't think I made any major changes really.
That sounds encouraging. Um, has anybody else experienced this in that same time frame? Anyone else here?
Yes, but not as much as David. But yeah, and the same thing. I still, I get maybe one or two interviews and then reject it.
Yeah. David, are you getting phone calls or emails?
Uh, LinkedIn and emails. Yeah, and it's all from recruiters. Both I'd say like agency or in company about half and half. And I'm just blowing past the recruiter interviews easily. Like even on the ones I don't do well on, it seems like they're just talking to me as like a formality and then just passing me straight to the hiring manager. And then yeah, then it really varies with how well I'm doing with the hiring manager. But yeah, I haven't passed any of them with the hiring manager, but yeah, I've gone by pretty much all of the recruiter ones. And I think I'm only being ghosted by maybe like a third of the recruiters or even a quarter,
Hmm.
which is much better than before, where I was getting ghosted like 100% of the time.
Meaning after you talk with them, you never hear anything back.
uh Actually, well, if I actually talk with them on the phone or over Zoom, they pretty much always get back to me. But if it's just like a message, like an email or a LinkedIn message, yeah, then it's like half half.
Okay, okay. And are you in a particular industry or
I'm
or
looking for
function?
solutions and sales engineering roles. So like my mentor had a theory. So his theory was that all the sales plans got created like at the end of maybe March or so. And then a lot of people saw their new sales plans or like, "Oh, I'm out." So they have like positions to fill for that.
I see. Yeah, I mean, in short, I'm not aware of anything that would lead to any particular spike in activity.
Mhm.
It's interesting to see that other folks might have slight bump in activity. So, any other conclusions that you've come up with, David, in particular?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Any other theories or speculations into what you could attribute that to?
None. Yeah, because it's like, if anything, I feel like I'm more off my game now, just kind of from burnout than anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
So
I mean, but
Eric,
it's encouraging that you're getting more activity.
yeah, I'm curious as to the industries that David and Victor are in, and are they similar? Because from where I'm sitting, I'm not seeing any increased activity.
okay. So I would say a lot of AI startups. Yeah, I'd say yeah, a ton of AI startups, couple observability and observability adjacent companies. But let me think. Yeah, mostly AI, I think.
Sorry,
Think
what's
of
observability? I'm not familiar with that.
kind of like like Splunk or Datadog where they monitor IT.
Monitoring.
Yeah, monitoring, logging.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I on my end, I saw a little bit of a bump. I would say in April. Um, my best guess is, uh, there are fiscal cycles, and
Mhm.
I think a lot of companies are wrapping up their fiscal cycle I think at the end of June, end of Q2, and so some people might be trying to fill their positions before that, before a new fiscal.
Kind of hopping into, it's interesting that you mentioned that, David, with the sales and sales engineering in particular. I have a friend who is more of a sales operations person.
Uh-huh.
He's had people asking him if he would be willing to take like a sales or an SE role.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't know what that means in terms of trying to read the tea leaves, but that's interesting. And it's happened within the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. So he said it's happened a couple times or just one or two times? And
Yeah.
okay.
But like one of them was like this week. Like it's very, and it nobody's ever approached him about being in sales at all.
Yeah. Yeah, which is because it's there's still a ton of SEs, very experienced SEs on the market right now. Because it's like, like there's no SEs don't get created in the same way like software engineers enter the market. Like it's typically a little bit more of a senior role. And it's just like there's so many experienced SEs on the market right now that I would imagine like most companies have a really easy time like picking up someone with like 5 or 10 years of experience. Yeah, because it's like I'm going for more junior roles, so it's a little odd to me that they're they're even looking at me because it's like I don't actually have like full on SE or solutions experience.
Is there concern that maybe there's a mismatch in terms of what they're looking for and what you bring to the table?
So I don't think mismatch because I've been rejected a lot just because like I don't have sales experience, but it seems like a lot of places are looking for people that are very technical, as far as I can tell. So it's just
Mhm.
like yeah, my software engineering experience, yeah, because one of the first questions I asked is like, what about my resume stood out? And yeah, they basically all said two things. Like it's like my technical experience and then the fact that I went to a pre-sales boot camp.
Mhm. Okay. Well, the additional activity or the spike in activity sounds encouraging.
Yeah, yeah, it's better than a lot better than it was before. It was crickets, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So just take it for what it is and just sounds like you're getting interviews with the hiring managers, but none of them are progressing beyond that.
yeah, yeah. None of them are progressing beyond that, and it's usually just you haven't done sales before.
Is that the feedback they'll give you in real time there?
Yeah, usually, yeah,
Okay. Is that something that's indicated on the job description or even caught by the recruiter? The recruiter must be asking about your sales experience in advance.
yeah. No, it's like yeah, the recruiters ask, and then I tell them I've done like solutions adjacent role, like sales engineering adjacent tasks like technical demonstrations or
Yeah.
discovery. And they're just like, all right, cool, go. And then yeah, I get to hiring managers, and then they're just like, oh, sales is a lot of experience. You build up a playbook of things you do, and yeah, I don't see that experience in you, despite the fact you've done a lot of those similar tasks. And then a lot of them are like, yeah, maybe we'll reach out for like a more juniorish role or later on when we have the resources.
Mm, okay. And this role is what, a sales engineer role? Or
Yeah,
would you be carrying
sales and all sales and solutions engineering. Yeah,
okay.
oddly, it's like because I've applied for a lot of like post sales roles also, and oddly, I haven't heard back from any of them, which is but then I've also heard like a lot of post sales roles are some of the first cut during bad market. It's just
Mhm.
like they don't take away the pre-sales roles often because those drive revenue, but it's like the post-sales roles get cut. So it's like I would be a lot more qualified for a post-sales role, and that's like typically the path into a pre-sales role. But yeah, the applications I put out for post-sales roles, I haven't been getting any hits.
Yeah. Well, um, I guess to the extent that you can sort of leverage the increased activity and sort of the learning cycles there, I think that would be beneficial. Sounds you're a little bit ahead in terms of, folks reaching out to you. So, um,
Yeah, I still don't know what's going on though. Like uh, it's luck. It's not anything smart I did. My resume hasn't, I mean, I need to update a lot of things like my resume, my LinkedIn, but yeah, it's just like I just been getting these interviews and it takes a lot of time to like, research the company, the people. So it's just like I haven't had time to do those things.
yeah, yeah. But then thinking a little bit about the sales roles, because I've recruited for sales roles in the past, and I know that um, it is a bit of a transition from going from like a sales support role to like a sales role where you're actually carrying the quota and you're
Yeah.
expected to generate leads, nurture, and then
Mhm.
close. And it doesn't sound like you have that experience per se.
Not like yeah, so it's like I've done like support as like a technical support for like sales
Yeah,
more, but it's like
yeah,
I've never carried a quota. It's like I've never had my neck on the chopping block,
yeah,
which
yeah.
seems to be something that hiring managers want a lot for pre-sales roles.
I don't know. I think it depends on the company. It depends on sort of how the teams are organized between sales engineering and sales.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I hate to speculate on that. It probably is more of a function of the company and just their organization.
Mhm.
But it sounds like they might, when they say you have limited sales experience, it sounds like that's what they're suggesting in terms of either driving the lead, nurturing and closing and sort of owning that. That's what it sounds like, but I don't know.
Oh, no, I think it's more of a, because sales engineers don't do leads or
Hmm.
how does it, it's like they don't do leads negotiating. So like account executives do all of that. Sales engineers are mostly just responsible for like the technical demos and answering customer questions. But I think it's mostly just there's like there's kind of like a culture in there, like there's a culture there. I think they want to see that you've assimilated,
Hmm.
if that
Yeah.
makes, yeah, it's kind of just like there's a lot of like what's the question behind the question sort of thing going on.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, again, it sounds like the activity increasing is a good thing. So you're onto something there. Now it's about correlating that with what you might be doing or not doing, and just I guess figuring out how to make the most of what you have there.
Yeah.
What other questions do you guys have? Karen, it's good to see your name again.
Hello. Thank you.
Hey, Karen, how are you? What can I help you guys?
So Eric, what is your take on this? I've heard kind of conflicting things on the whole open to work banner, right? I've heard that
Yeah.
you should not like for the more senior level positions, maybe not put it on for everybody, but put it on for the recruiters. I've heard put it on and then, after a while take it off and then put it back on again. Um, I was just having a networking discussion with a gentleman previously who said that he was told not to put it on, but put it on for recruiters only. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that. And also the
Yeah,
easy apply.
I mean, the whole open to work thing has been a sort of a big question, or it's a common question. I mean, I can speak from a recruiter's perspective. Right now, there's this, Ralph. There's an imbalance between supply and demand with respect to the talent and employment market. So when there's an increased abundance of talent, from a recruiter's perspective, I'm confident that anybody I reach out to, for the most part, I can get on the phone pretty easily. So for me as a recruiter, that badge open to work, um, during times when it's difficult for me to get somebody on the phone, let's say the balance is shifted between there's a decreased abundance, there's a scarcity of talent, and there's an abundance of open roles. In those kinds of situations, it's harder to get somebody on the phone. And in those situations, when I'm doing a search in LinkedIn and I can build a result set or a list, and I could zero in very quickly on who has those badges. It makes it easier for me to be like, oh, okay, so and so, they're actively exploring. I'll probably start with them first in terms of reaching out, right? But we're not in that situation right now, right? So as a recruiter, if I'm building a list and I see those badges, um, it doesn't really swing me one way or another. I guess the question for me that it might prompt is, maybe the person's been active for some time. Why have they been active? What challenges have they been facing? What kind of traction are they getting? So it might prompt some of that line of questioning, if I know right off the bat, that they're actively looking for their next position. But beyond that, um, right now, it wouldn't really steer me to prioritize someone over another. If that makes any sense. Whereas again, if it's flipped 3 years ago, for example, if I saw somebody with that badge, I might prioritize them first in terms of reaching out to them. So that's just sort of my mindset, my experience with that badge. There's a lot of like people out there that think, oh, if you put that badge, to everyone, it might signal desperation or something like that. I don't know, maybe it does. It depends on who's reading it, right? Like, you can't speak for everybody, but it could. But it could also, again, in the case of a recruiter, it might signal to them that you're actively looking and they might want to prioritize you in terms of reaching out to you first before the rest of the folks in the list, something like that.
Okay, thank
So
you.
what you could do is you could just make it available to recruiters, if you feel like that'll give you an advantage over the folks that don't have it in terms of drawing their eye to your profile. And then I guess, the concern I think with putting that out for the general population is that, if you have that too long, people might interpret it in certain ways. I mean, the other thing too is that, and you should probably be doing this anyway with the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 people that you already know, is you should be informing them that you're actively looking and what you're looking for, so you could sort of activate them as, trusted folks in your network to keep their eyes out for you. I don't know that you need to rely on that, on the badge to do that across your network. So yeah, I mean, there's trade-offs there. Yeah,
Okay.
I hope that gives
All
you
right.
some line of thought.
No, it helped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Last question for me. Easy
Yeah.
apply.
Oh, easy
What are your
apply.
thoughts?
Um, I mean, it's just getting easier and easier now to apply to any job out there. Um, it's causing problems for employers and recruiters that are just getting their funnels kind of, just getting stacks. Um, I mean, applying is one thing if it's easy to apply, and if it's yeah, if it's a position you're interested in, I would say certainly do it. I don't think there's any drawback, but I think the drawback is if you're just applying to a lot, thinking that it's just a numbers game through the front door and relying on that almost exclusively. I can think there's some danger in doing that, because I think you still need to do the manual networking to get on the radar of the recruiter or the hiring manager. So I guess that's the only danger, right? Like if you're easy applying to, I don't know, 100 jobs in a day and thinking, oh, you've done your job, and just sort of solely relying on that, I don't know that you can do that right now.
So I tend to not use the easy apply because first, when I see a role, I go to the company website and see if the role is still active. Because there's been a lot of times that I've gone and the roles, it's not even found on the company's website. And I've
Yeah.
I've also like looked at easy apply and what they were asking for, and then looked at the company website and see what they're asking for. And it just seems like the easy apply is kind of like a lazy way to do it, because you're not answering all those questions that you would answer on the regular company website. So I've kind of, poo-pooed, for me, using the whole easy apply.
Yeah. When you think about the different inbound funnels or inbound channels that a recruiter might have, um, depending on the CRM or the ATS, they won't always end up in the ATS. So for example, if you easy apply like on LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever, um, uh, the the recruiter has an account on those platforms, and so it's like almost like a separate inbox for each of the jobs that they're posting. Some ATSs they'll funnel those inbound from those platforms into the ATS, but some don't. So it's almost like a separate inbox, right? So So if you're the recruiter, you know, typically I would start in my own ATS if I see an inbound, but I'm still also checking other places where I've posted. So I will still go to those other inboxes, so to speak. But the thing is, you don't know if you're doing the easy apply, you don't necessarily know if it's actually making it into their ATS or if it's just sitting on that platform where the recruiter has to log into that manually separately. You don't really know how they have it set up. I mean, if I had to make a suggestion, you know, apply to the website because that typically ties into their own ATS. And if you see their job description posted through these other channels, you can still apply there. But like you said, sometimes there's just a lack of yeah, it's not all synchronized. It may not all be synchronized. Like it may already be closed. The actual job may be closed, which is probably reflected through their ATS because that's how they're managing all the, you know, the sort of the source of truth for like where the search is. But then maybe they didn't update it or they didn't take it down from Indeed or whatever, right? So their website is probably the source of truth in terms of it integrating with their ATS system. So yeah. So like, but to easy apply, you know, through some other channel, you could still do it. But yeah, I would probably prioritize if you had to do one application, I would probably do it through their website.
But you wouldn't do both, right?
The thing is, I don't know if it'll hurt if you do both. It's just you might show up in two places, or if the ATS system you apply there through their website, and now you have some other channel, let's say Indeed or whatever, and your application actually gets funneled into their ATS system. I don't think that will hurt. I mean, from a recruiter's perspective, at worst, they might see your name twice. One thing I'd caution against, though, is applying for different roles at the same company. I would caution against that. The recruiter will look at that and be like, oh, Ralph is applying for a software engineer role and a sales role. And they get confused and they're like, okay, Ralph's probably not focused. I don't know what to make of Ralph, right? Like, so I would caution against that. Or they
But
might,
if
or worse,
there's similar roles at that company, would you still caution against that?
I mean, that's a judgment call you have to make. It depends how similar they are, how much overlap,
Yeah.
right? I don't know, senior engineer versus mid-level engineer, but like salesperson versus
Product
graphic
management person. Yeah.
designer, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that could signal either you're just indiscriminately applying or you're just not sure what you want to do and you're not focused. But you know, I would sort of deprioritize that person if I saw them just applying to like 5 different jobs at the same company. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to run, you guys.
Thanks, Eric.
Catch you guys later or next week. Let me know if you guys have any other things in the meantime. Happy to chat, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks, Karen.
Thanks,
Bye,
Eric.
guys.